Hey y'all, let's take a look at surface area. What is surface area? It's basically the area of every surface that you're asked to find. Some of these shapes are kind of weird, but every single one of them, just so you'll know, is a combination of either a rectangle, a triangle, or a circle, or a couple of those, or all three sometimes. But you know how to find the area of a rectangle, right? Just length times the width. Like, if it's 7 by 5, it's 35. If it's a triangle, if it's just whatever the base is times the height, you chop it in half. Okay, that's the triangle. The circle, you should know the area of a circle. Don't forget the formula for that. The area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. And sometimes you'll be finding, again, half circle areas. So you take whatever this is and just chop it in two. So that's okay to do that. All right, and let's go to work. And they'll have ones like this. Find the surface area of this right rectangular prism. Dimensions are in centimeters. Okay, well, I don't know. Let's make up some figures here. We got 10, let's say 6, and how about this will be 8. Okay, well, all you need to do is find surface area is to realize that, let's say this is 10 by 8. That gives this surface of this prism an area of 80, right? And don't forget, there is one just like it on the other side that you can't see, all right? So that'll be 2 of those 80s, all right? The top will be 10 by 6, okay, which is 60. And of course, don't forget, there is one on the bottom underneath there. We can't see that, so it'll be 2 of them. And on the right, you can see that this is 6 by 8, which will be 48, and there'll be 2 of those as well, because there's another one just like it on the other side that you can't see right on this side. Okay, that's a right rectangular prism. Okay, here's another kind of a funky looking shape here. Dimensions are in meters. Well, you tell me how many sides are on this thing. How many sides do we have? Well, if you want to look at this thing like a 3D object or whatever, you can kind of like an X-ray of this thing. You can kind of look through it. And if you do it that way, it kind of looks like this, and you can kind of visualize it a little bit better. There's the front, the white part. There's the gray triangle. There's, of course, another triangle on the exactly like that one here. There's a bottom, and then there's a back side. So there are 5 sides. Well, the triangle is 3 times 4, which is 12, but of course, take half of that, right? So that'll be 6. Of course, there's another triangle just like it, another 6, okay? The front is 5 by 6. The bottom is 3 by 6, and the back, that's a 6 because this part is a 6 as well, it matches. The back is a 6, and then that's going to be 4 units high, and there you go, that's the surface area of that. Just add all those together. We don't have to do that right now. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. Okay, the surface area of this right circular cylinder. Now again, you should be doing notes like this in your Saxon math notebook, and you should have this on this part where you're putting down these practice problems so you can see how to do them. Okay, let's go ahead and make a radius of we'll say, I don't know, we'll say 3, a radius of 3 here, and we'll say this is a giant, I don't know, it's 10 feet tall, a giant can of, let's say, Bit O Dolphin, registered trademark. Tuna. Okay. So it's a giant can. So here you are looking at this giant can of tuna. It's one of those, Costco things. It's a homeschool family size tuna. Okay, well, we have, you tell me, there are 3 surfaces to this can. What are they? It's the top, right? The bottom and the side, right? Okay. Can you let's take care of the top and the bottom first. We know this formula for area of a circle is going to be pi times the radius squared. Okay, well the radius we know is 3. Well, 3 squared will be 9, right? So we can go, the area of the top here is 9 times pi. We'll hold on to it. We'll just leave it at pi right now. Well, if the top, if this is 9 pi, well then this, if you're find the surface area of the bottom as well underneath there, that's also going to be 9 pi, right? So we have 9 pi here and we have 9 pi there so far. What we haven't figured out is this, if you can visualize like a label on a can, like a paper label, it's glued on there to tell you what's in the can. If you can visualize that, let's pretend like we make a little cut here. We just cut all the way up and down. We just cut it nice and evenly, okay? Then if we stretch the thing out, like the label, what we'll have is this, the label that is, it's a rectangle, okay? And of course it'll say Bit O Dolphin, registered trademark, tuna, homeschool family size. Okay, right there. All right. Well, we already know, since they tell us this thing is 10 feet high. There's 10 feet right there. The question is, how big is this side? Okay. And what you have to think of whenever you want to know how big this this side is from here to here, what this is let's say you cut right here. What you're doing is going, okay, I'm unwrapping this thing all the way around. And what is that called in a circle if you go all the way around the circle? Circumference, right? Well, what's the formula for circumference? It's pi times the diameter, okay? Well, if the radius is 3, then what's the diameter? 6, right? Okay, so this circumference is 6 times pi, so you can just write 6 times pi. That's the circumference. So this is 6 times pi, this is 10. Well, the entire surface area, you just multiply 6 pi times 10, which will give you 60 pi. And there you go. You add up all those, 9 plus 9 plus 60, they'll give you 78 pi. And if you want to, you can leave that as your answer. Or in the back of your book, if you're checking your answers and it says, whatever it is, it's like 250 somewhere around there, then you can compare yours and see how close it is. And if it's pretty close, that's good enough. And if you want, you can just multiply by 3.14 if you want to. But that's how you find surface area for a circular cylinder. So make sure you can do that. Visualize how tall this thing is. Make it like a rectangle if you want to visualize it and write it that way or draw it that way. And then take this radius and just find the circumference of that circle. That's what the top's going to be. That's what you'll multiply by the height of that circular can of delicious Bit O Dolphin tuna. Okay, now here's where it gets kind of funky. This is, a combination of several shapes here. Let's just pretend it's, 10 units high again. Okay, we're going to have to find surface area of this thing. But let me just say something. These surface area ones are like ripe for making mistakes. So there's so many places you can make mistakes on these things. If you're getting half of these surface area ones wrong, even after a couple of months, don't sweat it too much. I mean, just kind of figure out what you missed and go, oh yeah, I forgot to cut that in half, or oh, I forgot that side, or whatever it was. So don't sweat it too much. Okay. Well, let's, this thing has, we got a back side here, we got a top side, we got a underneath side, and that's 1, 2, 3, and then we have from here to kind of stops there, where the circle starts, kind of right here, you know what I'm saying? From there to there, this from here to here, which is the same thing as about from here to, I don't know, about right there. So let's find those, and then we'll find, it's going to take a little bit of doing here, but you'll get used to it. Okay. Well, let's figure out the back part first. This is probably the easiest right here, right? If this thing, I'm just making this up, is 10 units high, 10 feet high, and they tell us bird's eye view, this is a bird's eye view of this, okay? Well, this is 6, okay? Well, obviously the back side is 10 by 6, right? So that's going to be 60, okay? So let's take a look at, forget this, let's just forget the circle part. Let's just get this rectangle right here, all right? Well, this rectangle is going to be 5, right, by 6, okay? So this part of this is going to be 30. And don't forget, there's one just like it down there at the bottom. So there's another 30, okay? So we've got this part, we've got the underneath part, and so on. Now we need from here to here, right? In other words, we need like this part right here, okay? Well, we know this thing is 10 units high, right? And we know that this is 5 units from here to here. So we know that this is 50 units on this side. And don't forget, it's also 50 units on the other side as well. That's going to be 50 and then another 50, okay? So we have the bottom, we have this 3 sides, that are rectangles. We're only missing, we need to find this part here, and then in other words, from here to here, kind of, that part right there. We need to find this part right here, like the label, kind of. And then we need to find the underneath part that looks just like this, but like underneath that weird shape. Okay. Well, we can find the area of a circle. We know how to find that, right? What we can do is we can just do this once, because there's a half a circle, and then the other half of the circle is going to be right underneath there where you can't see it. So we can just go ahead and use the regular old area formula. So area is equal to pi times the radius squared. Well, the radius squared is 9, right? So we have 9 times pi. And that'll take care of both this part and the underneath part, because it's only half a circle apiece. We don't have to do it twice. Oh, we're going to do it once and divide by 2. Then do it again and divide by 2. What's the point? Just do it once and call it both halves of the circle, right, for the area. So we'll call that 9 pi. If you were to multiply 9 by 3.14, you'd get 28.26. Okay. Now all we're missing is this label part, right? So we got to figure out, well, in other words, we're going to go from here and go like that and go right to there. In other words, from here all the way over to there. We need to find out what the length of that is when you stretch out the label. You cut the label off on both sides and stretch it on a piece of paper, lay it flat, and then how far is it from corner to corner? If you did that, it would kind of look like this, right? Okay. Now we know how tall this thing is. We said it's 10. So it's going to be from here to here will still be 10. We just got to figure out what this is right here. Okay. Well, that's again circumference, right? Okay. So before we did circumference, and it was the entire circle all the way around. So we went pi times the diameter. Okay. Well, this time we don't have a diameter because it's not all the way around. It's going to be half of a diameter. Well, what's half a diameter called? Radius, right? Okay. So all we need to do is go, okay, the circumference is equal to pi times the radius. Well, the radius is 3. There it is. Okay. So 3 times pi is going to be 3 times pi. So 3 times pi, 3 pi times 10, it'll be 30 pi, right? And if you could just go, if you want to go 30 times 3.14, you would get 94.2. Then add all that rigmarole together, so you got it. So really, again, the only thing to remember is you know how to do rectangles. You know how to do, triangles. Those are a piece of cake. The only weird thing is you're going to have to cut this thing into chunks and go, what's the area of this circle right here? Well, excuse me, actually, what's half of the area of that circle? Oh, wait, there's another half on the bottom. I'll just do it once. And we did it once. And then we have to figure out, what the area of this actual label from here all the way to here was. And we know how tall it is. The only thing we need to do is figure out what the circumference is. But we have to also remember that this isn't the circumference of an entire circle. So we don't go circumference equals pi times the diameter. Since it's half of that, we're going to go not times the diameter, but times the radius. We figured it out. The radius was 3. Pi times the radius, 3 times pi times 10 is 30 pi, which means 30 times 3.14. There's your answer right there. Add it all together, you got it. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at A, B, C, and D. Ooh, D looks fun, doesn't it? Okay. Try A and B first, and then hit unpause, I guess. Go ahead and pause and hit unpause when you're done with A and B. Okay, well, let's take a look here. The front of this will be 8, and of course we have 2 of those, so that'll be 16 total. The top of this will be 3 here, and then of course it's going to be 4 here as well. So that's 12, but again, there are 2 of them, so that'll be 24. This side over here will be 3 across here, and then 2 down, which will be 6, but again, 2 of those. So we have here 52 square inches or whatever it is. Okay. B, we have 5 sides, and again, I'll kind of let you visualize this second side here. Yeesh. Okay. All right. Left side will be 6 times 8, but chopped in half. You know what? Let's just do 6 times 8. If we do 6 times 8, that's 48, right? But since half of that's 24 there, and then another 24 there, we'll just write 48 because it takes care of both triangles, right? Okay. The front kind of side right here that you might, take a little, I don't know, a bicycle and roll down. So you can get to your giant can of dolphin tuna. Okay. You're looking up for, oh, Let's see if we can get a little dolphin tail out of there. Oh, yep, there he is. Okay, there's the dolphin tail. He's hanging out of there. There's extra bits of dolphin tail. Oh, sorry, got carried away. 10 by 12 is 120 there. So we got 3 sides. The bottom is 8 times 12, 96. The back side here is 6 tall and then 12 across. That's 72. So what the heck is that? 48 plus 120 is 168 plus 96 is 264 plus 72. I believe that's 336. Is that right? 264 plus 72. I think that's right. 336. Okay. All right. So pause it and try C. Hint. Turn C like this. Turn it 90 degrees. So turn your whole book like that. So the 20 is like the top of the cylinder. And the 200 is the height of the cylinder. So do that first. Okay. All right, well, C, let's figure out what the area is of each one of those bases, okay? Well, we know area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. Well, the radius this time is 20. Well, 20 times 20 is 400. So we have 400 pi. That's just this part right here. Well, if that part's 400 pi, then that part is, you will not be surprised to learn, 400 pi, okay? So that gives us 800 pi total, right? Okay, now we got to figure out this thing here. This thing is 200 feet tall, good gravy. Okay, well, let's just unwrap the label, okay? Like it looks like this. Cut it and unwrap it. 200 feet tall or whatever it is. And we need to find the circumference of, the label from here to here, which is like, in other words, you cut it here and it's all the way around and so on. Okay, well, circumference, we know the formula is pi times the diameter. Well, the radius is 20, so the diameter is 40. So the circumference is 40 times pi. Well, that means that's 40 times pi. Well, 40 times, good gravy. 40, okay, let's just do it in our heads here. 4 times 2 is 8. And then 1, 2, 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3 zeros times pi. Okay, and yeah, I think that's it, huh? Okay, so we have 8,800 pi. And if you wanted to go ahead and multiply that by 3.14, don't do that. Just, if you need to, just go like this. 314 times 88 and make what you need to do and then make it reasonable. Somehow that needs to be around like 27 or 28,000 or something like that, so, okay. All right, pause it and try D. This is a doozy, so this is a real doozy. Give it a whirl. Okay, if you can do this, you're in great shape. If you do half of this right and the other half is kind of that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just keep working at them. You'll get better at them. Okay, so we have, let's take care of the triangle part first. This is 8 by 10, which means, no, excuse me, what am I saying? We're not using that 10 at all. Never mind. This is going to be 8 by 6 because this will swing over and make 3, and it'll also swing down and make a 3. So the height of this triangle is 6, okay? So the 8 times 6 is 48, but half of that. But don't forget, there are 2 of these things. So we have 24 here, and then 24 at the very bottom, okay? So that's going to be 48. Boom. All right? Now let's do the little trick we did. Let's wait on that for a second. How tall is this thing? Excuse me. We'll see. I forgot how tall this thing was. It's 10. Okay. So this thing is 10, whatever high. So the question is, what's the, what is this area right here? We know that this is 8 across here from there to there, which is from there to there. Which means that thing is 8 by 10. That's going to be 80. And of course, this part here is like this part here. That is 10 by 10. That's going to be 100. All right, so we got the triangle up top. We got this side here. We got that side there. We got the triangle on the bottom. All we need is that half circle, the circle underneath, and this like half the can label thing or whatever you want to call it. Okay, well, let's find the circle first. We have, the area. That's what we're trying to find, is the area of this plus the area of the exact same thing underneath this weirdo shape. Okay, so we know the area formula is pi times the radius squared, which 3 squared would be 9. So 9 times pi. That's going to be that. And that'll take care of the top and bottom, right? Because that's a half plus another half, that's the whole thing. So 9 times 3.14, we'll call it 28.26. Okay. The other thing we need to figure out is the area of this part right here, right? And going all the way around, including this part right there, like the label part. Well, let's just cut the label and pretend it's a big rectangle. We know it's 10 units high, like this, right? It goes all the way around. The only question is, what is it from here to here? Well, the circumference, in other words, is from there to there. The circumference is going to be pi times the diameter, but we don't have a whole circle. We have a half a circle. So it's going to be pi times the radius. Well, 3 times 3.14 is 9.42. And if you multiply that by 10, you're going to get 94.2. Boom. So there's how you figure it out. Okay, I'm not even sure what the answer is. Just add those together. Okay. All right, enough surface area. You guys have a great day and see you next time. Think about Biddo Dolphin Tuna.